12 recent archaeological discoveries that challenge everything you know about human history. Hello, and welcome to the Ancient History Channel. My friend, if you think that human history was written and settled long ago, then after watching this video, you may have to think again. Because even at this very moment, deep beneath the earth, in vast barren deserts, or within remote and untamed jungles, there are secrets that have slept for thousands of years and are only now being awakened. What is truly remarkable is that each new discovery feels like a complete game changer, leaving scientists astonished and causing long-held beliefs to suddenly begin to crumble. Have you ever wondered whether the ancestors of humankind were truly as primitive as we were taught in textbooks? Or whether there once existed ancient civilizations far more advanced than we can imagine, but for some reason vanished without a trace? Questions that once seemed to belong only in science fiction are now being brought into the light by archaeology itself. And that is exactly why in today's video, we will explore 12 of the most recent archaeological discoveries, real, tangible evidence that is challenging everything we think we know about human history. So sit back, relax for a moment, and join me on a journey back through time, where every story may leave you saying, "So history isn't nearly as simple as I once thought." Now let's begin with the very first discovery. Ancient hellish prisoner torture complex. Try to pause for a moment and imagine this. Right beneath the ground where we are living peacefully today, there may once have existed a place where anyone who entered was considered to have already stepped 1 foot into the afterlife. Sounds chilling, doesn't it? Yet this is the disturbing reality recently revealed by archaeologists in Turkey, a discovery that has sent shivers down many spines, reminding us that history was far from gentle. Just recently, researchers from the Faculty of Science and History at Uludağ University uncovered an ancient underground burial complex believed to have belonged to the Bithynian kingdom, which existed roughly between 297 and 274 BC. What makes this discovery particularly striking is that the site is about 2,300 years old and lies beneath what is now the modern region of Bursa, Turkey. And as it turns out, this was not merely a burial chamber, it was also a prisoner torture complex, regarded as a true hell of the ancient world. As archaeologists ventured deeper inside, they discovered a series of torture rooms, deadly pits, and even bloodstains still visibly embedded in the rock walls. What is even more haunting is that these prison chambers were not isolated. Instead, they were interconnected by a maze of corridors, all buried directly beneath the foundations of modern homes. In other words, for countless years, people have unknowingly been living right above a place once saturated with pain, fear, and despair. According to the lead researcher, Professor Ibrahim Yilmaz, the site also includes a tunnel system stretching approximately about 2.1 miles, circling the ancient city of Bursa. These tunnels were not merely used for transportation, they are believed to have served as the final route leading prisoners to their deaths. Just hearing this, many of you may be wondering, just how cruel were people in the past to one another? I find it just as difficult to imagine. However, for scientists, the evidence speaks clearly. By comparing the physical traces left behind with historical records, experts concluded that methods of prisoner torture at the time were exceptionally brutal. Some prisoners were hanged for extended periods to break them psychologically. Others were tortured to the point that they lost the ability to speak or could no longer hear the sounds around them. Most horrifying of all, some prisoners were beheaded without mercy, their severed heads thrown into deep wells as a way of completely erasing their existence. The remaining bodies, meanwhile, were returned to their families. But even that was not so simple. According to Professor Yilmaz, if relatives wanted the body returned intact, they were required to pay a certain sum of money. Thinking about how people in ancient times were forced, just to survive, to trade away both their dignity and their lives is truly heartbreaking, isn't it? At present, archaeologists are continuing their detailed study of this extraordinary torture complex. In the near future, the site is expected to be developed into an open-air museum, allowing future generations to witness firsthand one of the darkest corners of human history. And perhaps then, we will better understand that although modern life still has many challenges, compared to the past, we are undeniably fortunate. What about you? If given the choice, would you dare to live in an era where a single small mistake could cost you your life? As for me, the answer is a definite no. Peace and a civilized legal system. Those are truly the most precious things of all. Do you share the same view? 1,000-year-old mummy with intact hair found atop an ancient pyramid. In the heart of the bustling capital city of Lima, where traffic never seems to stop and modern buildings rise side by side, have you ever imagined that beneath your feet could lie a secret that has slept for over 1,000 years? It may sound hard to believe, but archaeology has once again proven that history is always closer than we think. We simply haven't taken the time to listen. And the story you're about to hear will take you to a discovery that has left many in awe. A mummy more than 1,000 years old, still retaining its brown hair as if time itself had forgotten its existence. The discovery was made during excavations at the Huaca Pucllana archaeological site, located right in the Miraflores district of Lima. There, researchers unexpectedly uncovered ancient human remains deep within an old tomb. Archaeologist Mirella Ganoza stated that this was an extremely rare and remarkable find, as the mummy was discovered inside the Huaca Pucllana pyramid, an enormous adobe structure standing over 69 feet tall and composed of 7 stacked tiers. This monumental structure was built by the ancient Lima culture and once served as a major ceremonial and religious center for coastal communities in central Peru. What astonished scientists most was the mummy's state of preservation. The remains were identified as those of an adult, found in a seated position with the legs drawn up, a burial posture commonly seen in many ancient South American cultures. Even more striking, the mummy's brown hair was almost completely intact, remaining soft despite the passage of time, while the teeth showed almost no significant changes. Just imagine that. After more than a millennium, such preservation seems nothing short of a real-life miracle. According to the research team, the body had been wrapped in a relatively simple layer of fabric. Inside the tomb, archaeologists also found several artifacts, including ceramic vessels and pieces of hand-woven textiles. These objects served as crucial keys, allowing researchers to determine the age of the burial and its historical context. Based on this evidence, they concluded that the mummy likely dates to around 1000 CE. At that time, the area was inhabited by the Ixma people, an indigenous community that once dominated the central coast of Peru before the rise of the Inca Empire. The Ixma are believed to have built at least 16 pyramids, with Huaca Pucllana being one of the most representative examples. Constructed around 500 CE, the site was not only a place of worship, but also a vivid reflection of the spiritual, social, and cultural life of ancient societies. Unfortunately, the mummy's gender has not yet been determined, adding yet another layer of mystery to this discovery. Nevertheless, scientists believe that further study of this newly uncovered mummy will provide valuable data for assessing the health, culture, and social structure of indigenous Peruvian communities in the past. And who knows, perhaps in the not-too-distant future, they will uncover the answer to the bigger question: why did this mummy appear in such a sacred and significant place as Huaca Pucllana? Until then, all we can do is wait and see what history chooses to reveal next. Nearly 3,000-year-old network of carved stone pipes in Israel. History doesn't always need tales of bloodshed or earth-shaking battles to spark human curiosity. Sometimes, all it takes are a few ancient stones, lying silently beneath the ground for thousands of years, to leave scientists deep in thought. And the story unfolding in the city of Jerusalem, Israel, where every inch of land is tied to a sacred and mysterious past, begins with stones just like these. During a recent excavation, Israeli archaeologists uncovered a network of carved stone pipes dating back nearly 3,000 years. These pipes were skillfully crafted and divided into 2 separate clusters, located only about 33 feet apart. At first glance, the structure may seem simple. However, the deeper experts investigated, the more they realized that this system was unlike anything they had encountered before. According to the Israel Antiquities Authority, there were no traces of blood found inside the pipes. This detail may seem minor, but it is critically important, as it rules out the possibility that the pipes were used for animal slaughter during large feasts or ancient sacrificial rituals. While this finding brought some relief, it also raised an even more puzzling question. What's more, the structure of this network does not match any known drainage system. The pipes do not create a consistent flow in any single direction, nor do they channel water into any reservoir or basin. In other words, this was neither a sewage system nor a rainwater drainage network. So what was its true purpose? Are you wondering the same thing I am? What has confused archaeologists even further is the complete absence of any written records. Neither the Bible nor historical documents related to Jewish history mention a similar structure ever existing in this area. There are no texts, no drawings, nothing beyond what remains buried underground. This lack of documentation has turned the stone pipe network into a particularly challenging archaeological puzzle. Archaeologist Yuval Gadot has proposed several hypotheses based on experience and historical context. According to him, the pipes may have been used in the production of certain goods. One possibility is flax processing, a common activity in ancient times which required flax stalks to be soaked in water for extended periods before further treatment. These carved stone pipes could have easily met such requirements. Another theory suggests the pipes were used to store dates during the drying process as part of producing date honey, a valuable and widely consumed food in the ancient Middle East. While these ideas sound plausible, unfortunately, they remain speculative, as there is still no solid evidence strong enough to confirm any of them. And so, after all the analysis and debate, the true purpose of this nearly 3,000-year-old carved stone pipe network remains hidden in the mist of history. Perhaps one day, a small new discovery will help reveal the truth. For now, those silent stones continue to quietly remind us that human history still holds many untold stories. What about you? If you had to make a guess, what do you think these ancient pipes were used for? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. 4,000-year-old apocalypse prevention machine in Iraq. Dear friends, if in the previous video we talked about unsolved mysteries of history, then the story you're about to hear takes us in a different direction. One where ancient people did not just leave behind questions, but also left behind solutions for their own survival. Did you know that the end of the world doesn't always come in the form of meteor strikes or massive floods like those we see in movies? Sometimes, the most terrifying threat is prolonged drought, cracked farmlands and water sources slowly disappearing. And about 4,000 years ago, people living in Mesopotamia once faced exactly that scenario. What has astonished later generations is that they did not simply accept their fate. Instead, they created a structure that modern archaeologists now refer to by a remarkable name: an apocalypse prevention machine. This discovery was made in a rural area of Iraq during excavations at the ancient city of Girsu. Once a major urban center, Girsu was under the control of the Sumerian civilization during the 3rd millennium BCE. When people think of Sumer, they often picture a civilization far ahead of its time, the birthplace of writing, law, and countless innovations that laid the foundation for human society. And this newly uncovered structure once again proves that the Sumerians were not only intelligent, but also intensely practical. The structure that was discovered is massive in scale, unusual in appearance, and contains elements so modern-looking that they seem almost unbelievable. At first, many even questioned whether it truly belonged to the ancient world. However, after careful study, archaeologists confirmed that the structure has existed for approximately 4,000 years. More importantly, it was neither a temple nor a palace. It was a genuine life-saving system for the entire community. What is known as the apocalypse prevention machine is in reality a vast water management system, functioning in many ways like a modern water pipeline network. Its purpose was to transport water from distant areas for agriculture and daily use, especially during periods of severe drought. The system made it possible to divert water from two major rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, channeling it into canals, wells, and reservoirs strategically placed at the heart of residential areas. What truly amazes scientists is not only the sheer scale of the structure, but also the time at which it was built. Experts believe this system may have been constructed when the population of Girsu began to grow rapidly, increasing the risk of water shortages due to increasingly harsh climate conditions. Rather than waiting for nature to provide, the Sumerians took action, using advanced knowledge and engineering to adapt and save themselves. Compared to many other civilizations of the same era, the Sumerians' level of scientific and technical understanding clearly stood far above the rest. They did not merely observe their environment, they learned to anticipate danger and prepare for the worst possible scenarios. This mindset allowed their society to survive and thrive in a region that was never easy to inhabit. Notably, during the excavations at Girsu, archaeologists uncovered not only this so-called apocalypse prevention machine, but also a wide range of other important structures and artifacts. These discoveries help reconstruct a fuller picture of the history, religion, and politics of early Mesopotamian society. As you can see, every artifact brought up from beneath the ground is like a puzzle piece, helping us better understand how ancient people organized their lives and confronted the forces of nature. Fascinating, isn't it? A 3,500-year-old ancient tablet and the inscriptions that have left experts puzzled. Can you believe that an ancient clay tablet, no larger than a credit card, could reveal a surprisingly rich story about society and the economy from more than 3,500 years ago? Yes, you heard that right. Recently, archaeologists in Turkey discovered a clay tablet dating back to the 15th century BCE. What makes this find especially remarkable is that the tablet is not just an ordinary fragment of pottery. It records an important commercial transaction involving furniture, a large purchase of wooden tables and chairs, something no one expected to be documented in such careful detail. When we think about ancient civilizations, we often picture monumental structures like the Egyptian pyramids or Greece's Parthenon. Few people imagine that everyday objects such as tables and chairs could also leave behind valuable historical traces. Yet this tablet does far more than simply record a transaction. It opens a window into how society and the economy were organized at the time. Written in Akkadian cuneiform, an ancient language widely used in the Middle East, the tablet provides an important clue for understanding state structures and daily life during the Late Bronze Age. You may not know this, but Akkadian is one of the earliest Semitic languages, related to Arabic and Hebrew, and was once used across a vast region stretching from Iran to Egypt and present-day Turkey. The use of Akkadian cuneiform to record commercial transactions like this clearly indicates a society with a well-developed system of record-keeping and social organization. This tablet does not merely document a sale. It also reflects an economy with clear divisions of labor and a high degree of specialization. Furniture was not just a practical household item. It was part of a growing material culture within an increasingly complex economic system. Despite its significance, the tablet itself is quite modest in size, measuring only about 1.6 by 0.6 inches and weighing roughly 1 ounce. It was discovered during restoration work following an earthquake that shook the ancient city of Alalakh, located in the Reyhanlı district of Hatay province. This historically rich site was once the capital of the kingdom of Mukish during the 2nd millennium BCE. Alalakh, also known as Tel Achana, was home to the Amorites, a Semitic-speaking people. It was here that archaeologists uncovered the tablet, offering a glimpse into a society with a vibrant economy and complex commercial practices. During that period, Alalakh was part of the Mitanni Empire, a powerful state in Western Asia known for its advanced production of ceramics, metalwork, and glass. Around 1350 BCE, when King Shadawazza of Mitanni ceded Alalakh to the Hittite king Suppiluliuma, the city was not only a major trade center, but also a cultural crossroads where goods and craftsmanship were widely exchanged. The tablets found in Alalakh's ancient palaces and castles are now being carefully studied by archaeologists. These discoveries are expected to shed further light on the social dynamics and economic systems of the region during the Late Bronze Age. What other fascinating details might still be hidden within these tablets? The answers will likely emerge through future research. From a single small clay tablet, we have uncovered a wealth of information about human life, society, and the economy more than 3,500 years ago. So what do you think about these archaeological discoveries? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below the video. The 2,000-year-old tomb of an Iron Age female warrior. Off the southwestern coast of England, amid drifting sea mist and gentle waves surrounding the Isles of Scilly, lies a small island called Bryar, one that had been largely forgotten in the flow of history for thousands of years. But in 1999, when archaeologists began excavating an ancient burial site on this island, they never expected that they were about to uncover a mystery capable of completely changing how we view the role of women in ancient warfare. Deep beneath the soil, they discovered an unusual grave, the final resting place of an Iron Age warrior, and to everyone's surprise, the individual buried there turned out to be a woman. The story began when the archaeological team uncovered severely decomposed human remains, reduced to little more than a dark stain embedded in the surrounding soil, the only trace left of someone who had lived more than 2,000 years ago. Beside what remained of the body were a sword made of a copper alloy and a shield, objects typically associated with male warriors of that era. However, what truly puzzled researchers were the other items found in the grave: a brooch and a bronze mirror, artifacts traditionally linked to women in Iron Age burial rituals. This raised a critical question. Was this the grave of a man buried with female-associated objects, or was it truly the resting place of a female warrior, something rarely documented in European archaeology? The answer gradually emerged when the research team applied advanced tooth enamel analysis techniques at the University of California. Using a method that identifies proteins linked to the X and Y chromosomes, far more durable over time than DNA, scientists determined there was a 96% probability that the individual buried in the grave was female. This discovery was groundbreaking. Not only did it challenge long-held assumptions about women's roles in ancient societies, but it also revealed that as early as the Iron Age, women could hold combat roles, and possibly even leadership positions, in violent conflicts. The grave dates to approximately 100 to 50 BCE, a turbulent period for the Celtic peoples of Britain, shortly before the Roman Empire's expansion into the region. Based on the artifacts uncovered, archaeologists speculate that this woman may have been a military leader, someone who commanded raids into enemy territory, or even a powerful figure within her local community. Biologist Sarah Stark of Historic England commented, "We may never fully understand the symbolism of the grave goods, but the combination of a mirror and a sword is the clearest possible statement of this woman's status, not just as a warrior, but as a leader." Even more intriguing, this is the only known grave in Western Europe to contain both a mirror and a shield. Two symbols often seen as opposites, yet here united within a sacred space. Together, they seem to declare that gender did not determine one's role in battle. Rather, it was strength of spirit and capability that truly mattered. Today, these remarkable artifacts are on display at the Isles of Scilly Museum on St. Mary's Island, presented as part of a historical narrative that is still being rewritten. This discovery not only sheds new light on the history of the Celts, mysterious warriors who once dominated much of Europe before the Roman era, but also opens the door to re-examining the role of women in ancient civilizations. While traditional history books have long celebrated male generals, the tomb on Briar tells a different story. One of women who bravely took up swords, fought on the battlefield, defended their lands, and inspired future generations. Much like the warrior queen Boudica, who later led the Iceni tribe in a revolt against the mighty Roman Empire in 60 CE. The question now is no longer, did female warriors exist in the Iron Age? It is, how many of them are still buried in history, unnamed and forgotten? 113-million-year-old dinosaur footprints revealed after a severe drought. Nature can sometimes be incredibly harsh, yet it is often during these harsh moments that history unexpectedly reveals itself. The summer of 2022 became a memorable milestone that perfectly illustrates this truth. Prolonged droughts caused many rivers around the world to dry up almost completely, and while many people saw only hardship and loss, scientists recognized a rare opportunity for the distant past to suddenly emerge into the light. One of the most remarkable stories began in the state of Texas, near the bustling city of Dallas. At Dinosaur Valley State Park, already famous for its fossil remains, the river running through the area nearly dried up in several sections. This dramatic drop in water levels exposed a breathtaking sight, a series of ancient dinosaur footprints stretching across the rocky surface, as if the dinosaurs had walked through the area just yesterday. In reality, these footprints are approximately 113 million years old, dating back to the Cretaceous period, a time when dinosaurs still ruled the Earth. Before becoming so clearly visible, the tracks had been buried beneath water and sediment for an extremely long time. The unusually severe drought caused the water to recede, leaving behind a dry rock surface and allowing the footprints to be preserved in near-perfect condition. Many researchers believe this may be one of the longest continuous dinosaur trackways ever discovered anywhere in the world. According to Stephanie Salinas Garcia, an archaeologist with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, the discovery is impressive not only because of its scale, but also because of its immense scientific value. The footprints belong to multiple dinosaur species, including both carnivores and herbivores. This suggests that, during a certain period, Different types of dinosaurs may have moved through this area at the same time, possibly even traveling in large groups or herds. By examining the shape, size, and spacing of the footprints, scientists can infer the dinosaurs' speed, direction of movement, and even aspects of their behavior. Some tracks indicate slow, steady walking, while others show longer strides, hinting at moments of faster movement, perhaps during hunting or when escaping danger. These seemingly small details help vividly reconstruct parts of the daily lives of the massive creatures that once dominated the planet. As a result, Dinosaur Valley State Park has become an extremely important research site. Beyond shedding light on dinosaur migration patterns, the footprints also allow archaeologists and paleontologists to reconstruct elements of an ancient ecosystem, revealing how rivers, vegetation, and animal species once existed and interacted with one another. With the support of modern technologies such as 3D scanning and image analysis, researchers hope to continue extracting even more information from these footprints. Through this work, they aim to gain a deeper understanding of dinosaur evolution and the complex ecological relationships among ancient species. And who knows, perhaps in the future, from a single footprint preserved in stone, humanity may continue to uncover stories of Earth that have remained untold for more than 100 million years. That's entirely possible, isn't it? An ancient tomb that rewrites history on the banks of the Danube, Germany. Along the gentle banks of the Danube River in a small area known as Geisingen-Gutmadingen, located in the Tuttlingen district of southwestern Germany, lies a place that seems peaceful and unassuming. But have you ever wondered whether a place so quiet could be hiding secrets powerful enough to rewrite human history? You might think that sounds unlikely, but that is only before you learn that an archaeological discovery here, seemingly ordinary at first glance, has left researchers saying, "Perhaps we have misunderstood history all along." During archaeological excavations, researchers uncovered an ancient tomb dating back to the 3rd millennium BCE, meaning it is more than 4,000 years old. The tomb belongs to the Neolithic period and contains distinctive ceramic artifacts associated with the corded ware culture. And remarkably, the moment the first pottery fragments emerged from the soil, archaeologists realized they had not simply found a grave, they had opened a direct doorway into humanity's distant past. But the surprises did not end there. As the excavation expanded, experts went on to discover approximately 140 additional graves dating to the 6th century CE from the medieval period. What makes this especially fascinating is that each grave tells its own story, filled with familiar objects from a turbulent era: swords, spears, and shields, clear traces of warfare, bone combs, drinking vessels, and earrings, everyday items reflecting the daily life and aesthetic sensibilities of people at the time. Can you feel it? Beneath every layer of soil lies an entire human life that once existed. In fact, this discovery was so striking that the local mayor, Martin Numberger, expressed his astonishment, saying, "Our town of Gutmadingen is probably far older than we ever imagined." Previously, historical records suggested that this area was first settled around the year 1273. However, the newly uncovered ancient graves have forced historians to reconsider the entire timeline, going so far as to revise documents long thought to be firmly established. The most significant highlight of this discovery is the clear presence of the corded ware culture. This ancient civilization is known for its distinctive pottery techniques, featuring geometric patterns created by pressing cords into wet clay. Beyond their artistry, the corded ware people also practiced advanced agriculture, particularly cattle and sheep herding, as well as barley cultivation. These details help scientists better understand how ancient communities organized their lives, survived, and expanded their settlements. Yet the story of Geisingen-Gutmadingen is not limited to the Neolithic era alone. The medieval graves open an even broader window into European history. During this time, the Germanic leader Odoacer deposed the Roman Emperor Romulus Augustus, officially bringing the Western Roman Empire to an end and ushering in the migration period. This era saw tribes moving across the continent, conquering new lands, and triggering conflicts that profoundly reshaped Europe's social structure. All of the discoveries at Geisingen-Gutmadingen, from the Neolithic tomb to the hundreds of medieval graves, together form an archaeological treasure of immense value. Their significance extends far beyond Germany, offering the world a fresh perspective on human history. And perhaps the most thought-provoking realization is this: History has never been a story that is fully told. It is still there, beneath our feet, waiting for the day it is awakened. And you, if you had the chance to stand before these graves that have rewritten history, what do you think the past would whisper to you? I'm truly curious to hear your thoughts. The mysterious treasure in an ancient Chinese tomb. In Jingzhou City, Hubei Province, China, where even a single dig of a shovel can surprise archaeologists, in 2014, construction workers digging the foundation for a middle school unexpectedly uncovered signs of multiple ancient tombs. Realizing the situation was unusual, they quickly informed the school administration, and the information was soon passed on to local authorities. Not long after, experts from the local Heritage Bureau arrived to inspect and survey the site. The results were astonishing. Around 400 ancient tombs were identified, spanning different historical periods, including the Warring States period, the Tang Dynasty, and the Song Dynasty. Even just hearing that, you can probably feel a chill, right? Among these hundreds of tombs, one in particular drew significant attention from both experts and the public. It belonged to the Chu state during the Warring States period and was almost entirely intact. This tomb was built in the Jia shape, a relatively rare type. According to researchers, Jia-shaped tombs are typically rectangular with only one single passage leading inside. Viewed from above, the layout resembles the Chinese character Jia. Its discrete structure allowed the tomb to escape grave robbers for thousands of years. As the team explored deeper, they discovered that the interior was pitch dark, making it nearly impossible to see anything. To facilitate excavation, they hired an electrician named Xiao Tian to install lighting. Xiao Tian eagerly set to work. While climbing inside to install the lights, he accidentally glanced at a black object lying on the coffin lid. Thinking it was unimportant and seeing no one was watching, he slipped it into his jacket pocket and took it home. That evening, when he and his wife examined the spoils, Xiao Tian was stunned to realize it was a dried fish. Feeling disappointed and thinking it had no value, he casually tossed the fish aside. But life, as always, is full of surprises. The next day, when Xiao Tian returned to the tomb, he overheard the experts excitedly discussing a special discovery. They had found more than a dozen dried fish in the tomb, but all had been broken into pieces. None were intact. Suddenly, Xiao Tian remembered the fish he had taken home. He immediately confessed. Experts quickly went to his house to retrieve the most perfectly preserved fish because what seemed worthless was actually an extremely rare treasure. According to archaeologists, these dried fish date back about 2,400 years and are known as silver carp. The fish had been salted and dried, a luxury food in ancient times, buried only with wealthy and noble individuals. The tomb also contained other artifacts such as arrow tubes, swords, and armor, leading experts to speculate that the tomb's occupant may have been a general of the Chu state. However, this remains only a hypothesis. The true identity of the tomb's owner, as well as the full story of his life, remains a mystery, and perhaps it is precisely this silence of history that makes ancient tombs so fascinating to us. The 700-year-old ghost ship carrying an unparalleled treasure. Do you believe in ghost ships? Not the ones from movies or legends, but real ships, once sailing across the open ocean only to vanish without a trace, and then, centuries later, rise from the sea as if carrying whispers from the past. Yes, you heard that right. In the cold, mysterious waters of the Baltic Sea, a spectacular discovery stunned both archaeologists and history enthusiasts. Two ghost ships from completely different regions disappeared nearly 700 years ago, yet appeared together, lying side by side as if fated from a previous life. The story began in spring 2021, when a team of workers was constructing a railway tunnel near Varberg, in Halland County, Sweden. They had no idea that directly beneath the ground rested a historical mystery yet to be revealed. Two ancient shipwrecks, named Varbergskagen 1 and Varbergskagen 2, slowly emerged. What left experts in awe was their incredible preservation, almost intact, with no signs of collision, damage, or decay. How did these two ships, one from the forests of the Netherlands, Belgium, and France, the other from northern Poland, end up together? They did not travel in tandem, yet eventually rested only 30 feet apart, sinking into the Baltic Sea in the 14th century. A strange coincidence? Or something more metaphysical that science has yet to explain? Analyses reveal these are not just shipwrecks, but priceless treasures of medieval European trade, daily life, and politics. Inside the ships, goods were preserved almost perfectly. Wooden spoons, barrels, leather shoes. Small items that tell big stories about people, commerce, and the cultures connected across these maritime routes. One of the two ships, considered the most complete medieval shipwreck ever found in Sweden, puzzled archaeologists even more because there were no clear signs of why it sank. No burn marks, no holes from weapons, no trace of pirates. The most plausible hypothesis so far? A violent storm may have struck both ships, two strangers on the open sea, carrying them together to a final resting place seemingly destined. But that's not all. The Baltic Sea has long been famous for its unusually well-preserved shipwrecks, with explanations never fully satisfying. Some say the chemical composition of the water preserves the wood, but is that the only reason? Or do the calm waters hide secrets yet to be uncovered? The pair of Baltic ghost ships is more than an archaeological discovery. They are a reminder that history never truly dies. It silently lives beneath layers of earth and deep waters, waiting to be excavated, heard, and told. And perhaps, their stories don't just speak of the past, they reveal the fragile, mysterious nature of humanity's journey through time. The 130-year-old sensitive underwear of the Inuit. Amid the snow and ice of remote Greenland, where life struggles to survive each day under harsh temperatures, archaeologists recently uncovered an astonishing artifact, a women's thong made entirely from sealskin and fur. This is not the modern lingerie we see today, but a vivid testament to the craftsmanship, creativity, and fashion sense of the Inuit, the indigenous people living in the Arctic during the 19th century. This unique piece of underwear has been dated to approximately 130 years old and once belonged to an Inuit woman living in Greenland's frigid landscape. What makes it remarkable is not only its material and daring design, but also the way it was worn as a symbol of personal expression and social status within the community. Far from being just a protective garment, the thong is decorated with glass beads and soft fur trims along the front and sides, making it a genuine piece of wearable art. According to Peter Toft, a fur clothing specialist at the National Museum of Denmark, Inuit women would wear these thongs when entertaining guests or visiting relatives. In everyday life, they wore them with confidence and pride as a reflection of their personal identity. The meticulous stitching and delicate ornamentation reveal the skillful hands and refined aesthetic sense of the woman who made it. One can imagine that in the icy Arctic, inside warm animal skin tents, this small garment was a highlight of elegance and femininity. Of course, when stepping into the harsh outdoor environment, Inuit women layered on thicker clothing made from reindeer fur and other animal skins to keep warm. Yet beneath all that, the sealskin underwear remained essential, providing insulation, wind protection, water resistance, and, crucially, preventing sweat from freezing, one of the major hazards in Arctic conditions. Seals, primarily found along the eastern coast of Greenland, have long been a vital resource for the Inuit. They were hunted not only for meat, but also for their valuable skin, used to make everything from clothing and footwear to kayaks and ropes. After a hunt, Inuit women cleaned the skins, removing excess fat and flesh, then treated and sewed them using handmade needles. This process demanded patience and precision, a skill passed down through generations. Today, this sealskin thong no longer lies hidden beneath ice. It has been carefully restored and is now on display at the National Museum of Ethnology in Denmark, where thousands of visitors can appreciate the unique beauty of ancient Inuit culture. A small garment, yet it carries a story of adaptation, creativity, and the pride of Arctic women. If you want to see the masterpiece of Inuit craftsmanship with your own eyes, a trip to Denmark's museum is definitely worth considering. The Ancient Temple of Future Prediction. In the land of Gegorod in the Republic of Armenia, a place that might seem to be nothing but wind and stone, archaeologists have recently announced the discovery of 3 ancient temples. Built over 3,300 years ago, these temples are located within a fortress atop a hill. But what makes them extraordinary is not only their age, it is their mysterious function. According to archaeologists, these temples once served as centers for astrological rituals, where ancient people sought to connect with the future through mystical ceremonies. Each temple in the Geggerot fortress is designed simply, a single-room structure, but each contains layers of symbolic meaning. At the center lies a clay basin filled with ceramic vessels and ashes, remnants of the sacred rituals once performed there. Archaeologists also discovered clay-horned deity statues, incense burners used for ritual materials, ancient seals, and notably, animal bones with engraved markings, all hinting at a past where the boundary between the physical world and the divine was blurred. Researchers Adam Smith and Jeffrey Leon note that these temples were spaces where the ruling class conducted rituals to predict the future, a key element of their power system. In their article published in the American Journal of Archaeology, they wrote, "According to the logic of astrological activity, the past, present, and future are interconnected, opening the possibility of linking current circumstances to outcomes that could be influenced." At Geggerot, the ancients developed at least 3 distinct methods of divination, each involving specific rituals, tools, and careful preparation. Osteomancy, using cattle, sheep, or goat leg bones, which were either burned or engraved, the cracks or shapes were interpreted to predict the future. Lithomancy, using colored stones, which were cast or arranged in patterns to read fate, believed to be guided by the divine. Alluromancy, a form of divination using ground flour, often wheat or other grains, which could be written with, sprinkled, or burned during rituals. Interestingly, all these rituals involved wine and fire. Participants would drink wine, burn sacrificial materials, and chant, an act of solemn communication with the divine that was both sacred and mystical. These ceremonies were not only for fortune-telling but also served as assertions of power, as only the ruling class had access to and could perform them. The Geggerot fortress was therefore more than just a defensive structure. It may have been the most important religious center of an ancient ruling system. To date, archaeologists have not identified the official name of this civilization, nor the individuals who led its power structure. Much remains hidden beneath the dust of time, awaiting further discovery. Yet, through the 3 astrological temples perched atop Geggerot Hill, one thing is clear. From the earliest times, humans have relentlessly sought answers to the unknown, past, present, and future alike. The rituals involving bones, stones, and flour were not mere superstition. They stand as evidence of humanity's desire to control destiny and understand the laws of the world. And now, as the curtain of the past slowly draws to a close, we all share the same feeling. History has never truly stood still like the lines in a textbook. Every new archaeological discovery is like a puzzle piece finally found, forcing us to reconsider, rethink, and sometimes completely change what we once believed to be true. You see, from a single tomb, a footprint, or an artifact that seems lifeless, an entire distant era can come alive before our eyes. If today's history has amazed you, who knows? Tomorrow, right beneath our feet, humanity may uncover even more astonishing secrets. If you love stories like this, don't forget to stay with us. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you can continue the journey of exploring humanity's untold stories. For now, thank you and see you next time.